Previously on Can You Beat Cyberpunk 2077 Without V Killing Anyone?
Hello everybody, and welcome to part 4 of Can You Beat Cyberpunk 2077 Without V Killing Anyone? This is where I attempt to beat the game while limiting the amount of times I kill, shoot, or beat the absolute shit out of people. I also decided to call this series No Killing Percent because, let's face it, that's a lot easier to say than the previous title, but also knowing that I'm addicted to habits, I'll probably just keep saying the original title anyways. We'll first start this part off by going to Claire's garage so we can start the racing missions. However, I forgot one little detail, and that she wanted to meet during the day, and it's in the middle of the night. And look, I know I could just go into the menu and change the time, but that's too much work. So I decide instead to drive 1.3 kilometers to Pacifica because, let's face it, I can't keep avoiding Pacifica forever. I have to do it eventually, so let's just do it now. I make it to the church and god damn, it's closed. So now this time I have to wait and I don't got a choice. Alright, now that it's open, we can go inside. While I'm listening to some sermon about a man named Michael, I get tapped on the shoulder and told to go talk to Placide. I make it to the butcher shop and meet Placide, who immediately fails pacifism by killing this chicken. Oh, but Gary, they need meat, they need feathers. Okay, well that chicken needed love and comfort and got neither. As Placide takes me to the destination, I decide to waste 30 minutes of footage trying to get a thumbnail. Spoilers, I got nothing. I get jacked in against my will, and I'm given the task to infiltrate the Grand Imperial Mall, or the GIM, or the gym, however you want to phrase it, and take care of Netwatch, who happen to be camped in there, or at the very least make my way to a vehicle parked inside the mall. I meet up with Placide's dudes outside the GIM and start heading inside. You know, this area does look pretty nice. Maybe I could use it for a thumbnail, maybe get, part of the roller coaster, maybe more of the mall.
Get to work.
Okay, geez, Placide, I'm sorry. I was trying to get a screenshot, goddamn. Getting through was really not much of a hassle as long as I took my time. Eventually, I get to the lobby, sneak around more guys, and I get to the van. As Placide and I talk about what our favorite Dragon Ball Z arc is, personally mine is the Frieza saga, Netwatch interrupts us, and now I gotta find the agent camped out in the Chevrolet movie theater. If you know what that's from, then you're a real one. Making it to the theater was the hardest part out of this entire sequence, mainly because the area became crowded with hostile enemies. I had to get a bit creative with sneaking around them, and in the end, I managed. The next challenge that lied up ahead was the one and only Matilda K. Rose, aka Sasquatch. In every other circumstance, Sasquatch would have been dealt with. However, by simply sneaking around the perimeter, the fight can be completely avoided and the theater can be accessed. I finally get to the agent, and this is where I run into a rather large problem. Problem being, who do I side with? Siding with Netwatch will avoid a conflict now, however later I will end up having to fight some Voodoo Boys and or Placide. So that means I would at the very least give myself 1 point, since I will have to take Placide out.
Then let's hear it.
And even though I have almost 300 hours in this game, I've actually never sided with Voodoo Boys, I've always sided with Netwatch. If anything, we'll just see what happens. Alright, cool, so I just give him a little punch in the face, I grab the info, and the agent is dead. And not only him, but 9 other Netwatch agents were killed. That means 10 people are dead, and they will never get to watch this series. And that's pretty messed up. But more importantly, does this mean that I just racked up 10 points in one interaction? The amount of hours I have spent avoiding doing the deed that is called murder, making my fellow comrades do all the work while I sat in corners. All of this just to end up in this situation? Or you know what, maybe this doesn't count. Because think about it, my intentions were to gather the info that Netwatch had. That's what I was told, that was my mission. The mission wasn't to blow up 10 Netwatch agents. Placide didn't say that, he just said to get the info. And the reason that the agents are dead is because Placide planted a virus in me to cause me to explode when I plugged myself into the agent. If anything, it's Placide's fault, not mine. I just wanted to punch him. And yes, all of this makes me just want to fight Placide even more. I meet up with the Voodoo Boys outside, and they look very happy to see me. Even Placide is happy to see me. Look at him smiling with joy. I finally get to speak to Maman Brigitte, but before she'll say anything, she forces me down to her bunker and sit in an ice bath. I eventually pass out, which leads us to the second time we get to go back in the past and play as Johnny Silverhand, which means I can shoot enemies and it doesn't count. And to this day, I still get comments from my original video saying that it shouldn't count, even though I've made 4 parts in this series. I redid this whole thing and I made 4 parts. I know I'm sounding like I'm salty, but it's actually kind of funny. Anyways, cue the montage.
Get out of my way.
Johnny and I talked to Alt, who gives us the solution to our problem, and no, it's not the ShamWow. I thought it was too. It's Mikoshi, which is underground below Arasaka Tower. You know the place. The same place that I threw up those concession stand nachos. I get out of the bath, choose not to draw my weapon in the middle of a group of people, talk to Placide one last time, leave the chapel, and that concludes the Sorry, let me try this again. I leave the chapel, and that concludes the God, hold on. Let me try one more time. Leave the chapel, and this will conclude the mission. Does it complete the mission? Look, it just doesn't feel right. I feel like I was responsible for those 10 murders. You know what? Let me just sleep on this, okay? Let me just figure this out, because my mind is just all tangled up right now. All right, just let me figure this out. All right, well, I'll figure it out.
Gary.
Ugh, what, Russell?
Please don't tell me you are considering doing this mission again.
Russell, I don't want to do it either, but what if people say in the comments that I killed 10 people and I didn't count it? And plus, maybe there is a way to do it by choosing to side with Netwatch.
Look, you can't please everyone that watches your videos, okay? You know that.
I know, you're right. It's just that... Did you change the wallpaper to Panam's ass?
What? Oh, that? Did I do that? You know, I just thought the PC needed a little more... What's the word? Je ne sais quoi.
And you thought Panam's ass would do the trick?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? I'm going back to sleep.
Okay. So, have you made a decision?
Yep, and I've decided to do this again.
You fucking goddamn son of a fucking bitch.
Now we are back at it again at Krispy Kreme, but this time I choose to side with Netwatch. And if this means that I have to take Placide out, I'd rather have 1 point than 10 points, alright? That's just my personal opinion. Placide isn't too happy about this decision, and I resist the urge to punch him. After going through the whole Johnny sequence once again, I wake up to find that the Voodoo Boys are not happy with me. Stealthing through is literally not going to happen because there are just too many enemies and not enough room to maneuver. Luckily though, once I reach the top of the stairs, the door closes behind me, which means I won't have to deal with the Voodoo Boys. However, I will have less room to work with when I'm dealing with Placide. And also they decided to just add one Voodoo Boy in the Placide fight, probably just to make it challenging. I don't know, don't ask questions. You know, maybe I could finally use that weapon glitch quick hack I got earlier. Okay, never mind. My current plan is to try and get the area out of combat and see if a takedown is possible, like what I did with Oda. However, I don't even know if it is possible given how little space I have to work with. I tried using flashbangs to confuse them, and no, flashbangs do absolutely no damage, but it didn't work out anyways, so there was no point. While experimenting, I noticed that the area was now hostile, which is amazing because I didn't even think it was possible. Well, this didn't last for long because the Voodoo Boy was literally walking towards the room I camped out in and I got spotted. I hid behind a pillar on the opposite end of the chapel, and sure enough, I'm no longer in combat again. The entire time I'm thinking this is going to be like Oda. I will have to do a few takedowns to get past, but once I managed to grab Placide, I was given the option to do a lethal or non-lethal takedown. I chose non-lethal because I'm nice, loot Placide's inventory while the other Voodoo Boy is shooting me down after watching me single-handedly take down a literal behemoth, managed to escape the chapel with half my health in a dream, and the mission is officially complete. Never will I do this mission twice in one playthrough again. Johnny and I have the first genuine conversation we've had since we met, and he brings up Adam Sandler once again. His only wish is to have Rogue be there when I take down Adam. I don't know if this guy's been out of the loop, but I'm trying not to commit extreme acts of violence, even if it's towards someone that really deserves it. Maybe I could get Rogue to do all the work, and plus I do want to know if Johnny's side quests can be done without killing anyone. The first thing we gotta do though is convince Rogue to go after Sandler. She probably won't listen to me, so Johnny gets the great idea of taking control of my body. I am pretty worried about this because even though Johnny is in control, it is in the end still V, so anything that can happen will count towards the run. I make my way to the afterlife, pop the pill that I got from Ibiza, and let's get this started. No fucking way. This drink, this alcoholic beverage, this glass of bitter poison is what's stopping me from progressing with Johnny's storyline. My entire plan has been shattered. Questions will never be answered. The mystery of whether Johnny's side quest can be completed passively, we will never know. We'll never get to see Rogue blue ball us. We'll never get to take a drive in Johnny's Porsche. Even though we can't romance him, we'll never get to meet Carrie and go wreck a boat. We'll never get to see Adam Sandler fall on his knees with Rogue by my side and Johnny in my head. All because of a f***ing drink. But rules are rules. So that means both the Rogue ending and the Don't Fear the Reaper ending are off the table for how we finish this series. God damn it. This means all we have now is to see if any of the available endings can get us to a pacifist victory. I head over to Embers and talk to Hanako, who has quite the deal. If I will testify against her brother, she will help me reach Mikoshi and get rid of Johnny from my brain. I need some more time to think about this, but I end up passing out and waking up on Vic's table once again. And now I am at everyone's favorite part of the game, getting to choose which ending to go for. Currently, I have the choice of taking Hanako's deal, testifying against her brother, and her helping me reach Mikoshi. This is one of the endings that I can go for, however, there's another one that I would much rather do. Since I completed Panam's side quests, this means that the Aldecaldos ending is also an option, and the one that I'm going to try first. After making my decision, I give Panam a quick call, play a little card game with Misty, and Panam shows up to take me to the Aldecaldos camp. Saul and Panam have a plan to dig a tunnel underneath Arasaka Tower.
A few strategies we sussed out.
This will be done by infiltrating a construction zone full of guards and taking over a huge drill. It's a pretty crazy plan, but what other options do we have? I decide to hop into a quick Discord call with Alt. Hey Alt, you got the goods?
Yeah, I got the goods.
Let me see those goods. What the fuck is that, Alt?
These are the goods.
That's not what I meant when I said goods. I'm now forced to stand in front of a huge crowd despite my fear of public speaking and being the center of attention, but at least I get a sick jacket. Nice. Panam and I talk for the very last time before I fall asleep, and it's now time to put the plan into action. The two of us get inside the Panzer, and all of us Aldecaldos run like the wind towards the construction site. Obviously, Militech is not going to roll out the red carpet for us. Instead, we get some missile strikes. They probably meant to shoot off the fireworks to welcome us, however, they shot off the missiles instead. It's quite a common mistake. Drones are attacking us, and initially I started shooting them down, and then I realized I literally have an army of people with me, so I'm just going to let them do all the work. So far, things are going very well. Everyone was taking out the Militech troops, so I was just hanging around minding my own business. Well, now it was time to run through the barricades, and looks like I missed one. The objective now is to eliminate all 11 enemies, but there was a huge problem with this. The enemies are on one side of the bridge and the Aldecaldos are on the other side, and neither side will press forward regardless of what I did. I tried leading the Militech enemies into the bridge, but they would stop moving and even no longer attack me. I tried shooting only the drones to make the other enemies angry, but that did nothing. Also, FYI, shooting the barricades on the bridge literally does nothing because they just spawn back. You know, it's one of those things that just doesn't make any fucking sense, but it's in the game, so I guess we're stuck with it. And also, it doesn't help that the Aldecaldos are sitting ducks. I was completely stuck, and unfortunately, this is where this ending comes to a stop, because I cannot continue forward unless I kill these Militech enemies. Therefore, the Aldecaldos ending cannot be done without killing anyone. And this leaves us with the other option, going the Arasaka route.
God, how are you so fucking stubborn?
I make the decision to team up with Hanako, and this time around, Hellman picks me up. And before we actually start the ending, Hellman and I have to save Hanako, who is currently a damsel in distress in this penthouse. And when I say Hellman and I mean more just me. My objective is to take care of 4 elite guards. In my first attempt, I got one of them, but was caught shortly after. I went to load up a save just to find out that there is no saving when you are at the penthouse, which means every single time you have to sit in the car, listen to Hellman, try to get past this guard who has a different look but the same exact voice, and witness Hellman being a complete fucking idiot every single time. I managed to take the 4 elites out, and now I can go talk to Hanako, and I'm thinking, this is it, right? The AV will show up, we can all go inside, and we can all head towards Arasaka. However, once the AV landed, Hanako and Hellman were able to get inside, but I was simply not allowed to. Even though I was shoving myself into this vehicle, I was not allowed to get in. Thinking that the game just soft-locked, I loaded a save I made right as I was talking to Hanako, and during this, I get spotted somehow, and these guys are persistent. No matter how far you go, they will always find you, and they will always kill you. I tried entering the AV once again, and even though the game gives me the objective and the location to enter the vehicle, I'm simply not allowed to. Which means what I have to do is take care of the other guards. And not only do I have to go around and do non-lethal takedowns on everybody, despite the fact that I literally made a point in part 3 saying that, hey, I should stop doing takedowns, I have to listen to both Hanako and Hellman tell me to get into the AV.
Can we not simply depart and leave her? Can we not simply depart and leave her? Can we not simply depart and leave her?
What do you think I'm trying to do? I'm obviously trying to get in the freaking AV, man. The guards are finally dealt with, but of course there's a mech. Unfortunately, there's no other way of dealing with this robot besides shooting it down. And guess what? Now I can get into the AV. Finally. We eventually arrive at Arasaka, and Hanako has the plan of using Saburo Arasaka, yeah, that one guy that died back in episode 1, to convince the board that he was murdered by Yorinobu. And as everything was starting to go well, we all get attacked. Thankfully, there was a good amount of guards to take out the attackers, so I had no reason to fight. Now I gotta get to Yorinobu, but that requires me to basically go through the entirety of the Arasaka Tower, which is full of floors, that is full of resistance, and what do I got to combat them? A couple of troopers. Freaking awesome. And as I was progressing, I started to realize that these troopers that I had versus the dozens upon dozens of enemies that is lying in front of us, I knew this was gonna take a while. And then I realized you can just run past everybody and go straight to the elevators. Great, now I have to defeat Yorinobu's forces. Oh, wait, never mind. It's like this was the ending to complete this series with. And then a new challenger approached. Adam Sandler. You know, hiding from Oda and Placide worked, so certainly hiding will work this time, right? Well, okay, getting out of combat was possible, but Adam did not quite get the memo, because he would find me every single time I tried to hide, whether I was in combat or not. The only way to get past Sandler was to take him out with a weapon, which means this ending cannot be completed without using excessive amounts of violence. Which brings us to the third and final ending that we can choose, and this was the last thing I wanted to do. But there was no other choice. I throw the pills off the balcony and come to terms that no matter what happens, someone has to die in order to complete this series. And if it has to be anyone, then it's gotta be me. You know, I wish this series could have ended in any other way, but unfortunately this is all I can do. At least we get a nice little conversation with Johnny before the inevitable happens. Anyways, I've spent the last 4 videos asking the question, can you beat Cyberpunk 2077 without V killing anyone? And unfortunately the answer is no. Thank you for watching. Nah, I'm just kidding. You really think I would end this series like this? I still got other stuff to do, like Judy's side quest, and plus, I got big ideas for the finale, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And if you are enjoying this series, please make sure to leave it a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe so that way you'll be notified when I upload the next parts. And without further ado, I will see you in the next one. Later.